Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Everyone's got the post-lunch blues. That's fine. We're going to get through this together. So, always one to never disappoint. On the agenda for today, we're here to talk about the next human agenda, a topic which I didn't fully hear about before until I started investigating about this panel, when I, of course, Googled my co-star here today to understand everything he's about. In your own words, the next human agenda is a future in which technology empowers people to live longer, healthier, and happier lives. Maybe we should start there, dive into that for me.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Our job is now to cheer you up after a lot of delays and the food getting digested in parallel. So at my family office at Pyron, when simplified said, we focus on tech and biotech, but sort of the unifying framework is that we believe over the next 10, 20 years, if you take the zoom out look, the world will change in a magnitude I think we all haven't fully started to grasp yet. Maybe we do a tiny bit if people look at AI, but even then, I think it's very hard for humans to fully understand the magnitude of exponential growth. And I think it's just starting because of things like AI and other stuff. So the world is going to change rapidly, and sort of we want to invest in technologies from life sciences to brain-computer interfaces, which sort of a little bit help shaping that future in a very positive way.
Right, we're going to break into each of these individually, but there has been a lot of conversation around artificial intelligence today and in general, so it does make the most sense to start there. Two-parter here. Artificial intelligence, what is its impact going to look like on other sectors? And secondly, how do we prepare to empower artificial intelligence in the future? What kind of sectors and technologies are needed to make artificial intelligence work across the board?
Like, super broad question. I'm looking at the time, but I would say one thing is like it's going to be like the internet on steroids. It's not going to be just one or two sectors. It's going to be like every single industry. And by the way, even or especially maybe even very boring ones, where you don't think immediately, oh, that's going to be an AI topic, will be heavily affected, changed, and disrupted by AI. So the same like when you look back, like in the very early days, we said, oh, there is an internet company. You wouldn't say now there is an internet company because you use emails. Every company uses the internet, and every industry has been changed by that. From our point of view, I think the most important, if we zoom out and don't become too granular, the most important change will be that over the next 10 to 20 years, humans most likely will not really have to work anymore because we don't need to human labor. So maybe we're going to have a job and show up once a week, but like our sort of view is that humans will at least work way less than they used to, but will have the same purchasing power because companies will have to share the sort of rise of profits they have because of AI with sort of society, otherwise societies will explode. So we think a lot like, what will humans do with their free time? So we invest actually a lot aside of tech and biotech in non-disruptable experiences from hotels, travel. We own the largest live entertainment business in Europe. But we also do gaming, because there will be, obviously, people will do sort of worldly stuff, in the real world, but more and more people also going to move to virtual worlds to spend their time. So that's going to be, I think, one big change of society.
Yeah, there's a huge amount to unpack there. To begin with, what you started talking about, I think, is preparing workers for the future, whereby they could be working less, but also, I suppose, they're being augmented by these technologies, such as artificial intelligence. How do we prepare workers and talent of today for that future, not just from a skills level, but also mentally as well?
Well, it's like, I think that people start just thinking about it. But that's, again, I'm looking at that, but like my sort of, and I need to go a tiny bit back because it's a very controversial answer. So my view is that the short version is the solution to prepare. There is nothing you can prepare. You just can continuously sort of update the workforce. Let's start there. The problem is, though, if I look at your brain, how old are you?
No comment.
You're not a woman. Come on. Like, you can say it.
35. 35.
35. So with round about 30, and I guess most people here in the audience are older than 30, yeah, your brain starts to age. So the very bad thing of brain aging, Alzheimer and dementia, comes luckily very late. But with 30 roundabout, your brain starts to get more rigid every year. So in like, figuratively speaking, your brain is thinking in the same pathways all the time, which makes it incredibly harder year by year to learn new things.
It sounds like you're telling me I'm stuck in my ways.
Well, but I have a solution. But like, just like, it's harder to learn a language. Think about it. Young people learn languages way easier than older ones. Think about it when you make your best friend. Most people will make their best friends in their teens or in their 20s. Anything which has to do with novelty, learning, being open for new things is heavily decreasing starting from the age of 30. So there is one group of medications which I'm very, very proud of, that one of the companies I founded myself is bringing back into the medical realm, not recreational, to the medical realm, which was used in the 50s and 60s exactly for that, are so-called psychedelics. So I don't know if everybody's familiar with it, but these are things like magic mushrooms, ketamine.
I think we'd probably be focusing more on the talent equation.
Let's stay there, like, because they have
it's
very like, it's very medically. They have a very good side effect because they refresh your brain. Yeah, and your brain...
I wouldn't know.
Which you would need because you're older than 35 or 30. So, and bring them back into a youthful state, which allows you, by the way, let's stay serious, they allow you to process novelty. So one of my big bets in our portfolio is that in like 10 years from now, not just for treating mental health issues, this is what we're bringing these substances back into the medical world because they cure depression, anxiety, addiction, and all of that. But like in order to make people exactly what you ask, able to learn a new job, maybe every some years. Because like the problem with AI is, to come back to AI, that it's a disruption machine. So even if we're inventing new jobs, those jobs will be disrupted 2 or 3 years later. So we really need to think, how can you make a 50, 60, 70-year-old able to learn a new job every 3 years? And the only way to do that, medically, is to create neuroplasticity in your brain. And the only way to create neuroplasticity are psychedelics. And now add one more thing, I deeply believe, which is the other big thing we're doing in biotech, that we're going to live longer and longer in a very healthy state. So in the future, it's not just that we need to think about what do we do with the people who are 50 or 60. We need to think about what are we doing positively, how do we include people who are 80, 90, and 100 and are very healthy and very productive. So, and it's one is the economic question, but the other one is the societal questions that humans want to be part of society. So it's not just that we want them to work because we need their, or want them to because we need their workforce, because that actually we don't need anymore, but we want to give humans, every human being wants purpose. Yeah, and I think the biggest number one problem and challenge for governments all around the world will be to ensure that all of their citizens have a purpose. If they don't, and I think that is my personal theory, if you look around the world, you always read the headlines, why are people getting crazy on the far left, on the far right? Why feels the world so unstable? Yeah, and I think a deeper answer is that people lose more and more purpose in their life. Yeah, by the way, combined with, that is my personal view, people lose more and more faith in religion in their life, and this is terrifying them, and sort of it's creating that mental health crisis, which then has very tangible effects. You can just look at the number of people with depression or whatever, but it also has a societal effect, because most negative events in history have been created when big parts of society overnight, like for example in the Industrial Revolution, lost the purpose. If you go back to one fascinating...
it's not that, I mean, I know I'd love to hear it all, but we have big numbers in front of us that get smaller and smaller, so we've got to make sure we get through every topic here. So not to interject too much, but you did mention earlier on that it's not just about what people are working and about how they're working as well, but also what they're doing in their free time. And you mentioned in particular the impact of virtual worlds and virtual experiences as well. Maybe we could dive into a little bit there as well from the technology aspect, not just about the workplace.
Yeah. Well, so where do I start? Like, I believe that in round about 10 to 15 years from now, we should be able to create with brain-computer interfaces, so chips in your brain, hyper-realistic virtual worlds. So practically everything we know now, or we look at computer games, which is already pretty cool, but like people still sit there and play around, and in a best case, they have whatever glasses. But at the very end, if I pick you here, why do you think you're sitting here and having a conversation with me? The reason why you think that is because all your senses are telling you that. You look at me, your bum feels the chair, yeah, maybe you feel the air conditioning on your skin. So every reason why you all believe you sit here, which might be an illusion, by the way, is your sensoric input, which your brain is processing and is creating the sense of reality around you. So one of my most favorite portfolio companies we have, BlackRock Neuroscience, is the #1 by far brain-computer interface company in the world. We already have more than 40 human beings, Elon Musk has none yet, with a chip, a computer chip in their brains, which allows them to do things which we would colloquially call as either magic or sci-fi. Because, for example, we have an ALS patient, which is a disease where you get locked in your body. He can't communicate anymore because his entire muscle system is gone. And you can go on our website, so I'm not exaggerating, he's thinking, and the brain chip is reading out his thoughts and transferring his thoughts to a computer, and the computer is speaking for him. Or another patient we have who's quadriplegic, he has a chip in the brain and can command things around him, like robots, or he can even drive his car with his thoughts. And fun fact, he's driving better than most people because it's quicker to send a thought to the car than the ancient way to give it to your arm, who's then turning the wheel. So, but as we can read out information in the brain, in 5 to 15 years, we're going to get better and better. We already have the very first small stuff. We can send information back into the brain. And in the moment we're able to do that, in the moment we're able to completely simulate your sensoric input, I could switch now and simulate that we're sitting on a beach on the Maldives or whatever, and it would feel 100% real because we would just simulate or stimulate the same sensoric input, which is giving you now the illusion that you're in Abu Dhabi, sitting on stage and talking to me. So, and once we can do that, yeah, we can make computer games or any other form, yeah, of entertainment or whatever you want to use it for, hyper-realistic, yeah, and whoever hasn't seen it, it has, like Hollywood always takes a little bit the negative view on it, but like the core of it is what it's going to be is if you watch Ready Player One, amazing movie, and sort of what we're trying to create is practically Oasis, the hyper-realistic virtual world.
All right, so let's round this all up for one final question here. 10 to 20 years' time, I'm going to be living longer, working less, traveling wherever I want inside my brain, essentially.
Or outside.
Or outside, experiences across the way. The future in 10 to 20 years sounds very, very exciting. However, are you excited for the now? Are we living in an exciting period now, before all of these future technologies are in place? Are you excited?
Yeah, because it's already starting. It's not like, it's not going to be binary that we wake up. If I take our other topic, longevity, it's not someone we're going to live to some 100. And I think everybody who's like not older than 50-ish has the opportunity to live some 100 years. But it's not going to be that you wake up and say, oh my God, now Christian made it and we're going to live to some 100. It's always a gradual, incremental change every year. So why I'm excited about the now is, and this is really important because some of you might say now, and we had to sort of push it into 50 minutes. Okay, maybe it's a little bit outlandish and crazy. But everything I just told you, as I said, we have a BCI patient who cannot talk, who cannot communicate, and who's communicating with telepathy with the people around him. We have a person who has a chip in his brain who's driving a car with his thoughts. This is not the future. This is what we're doing right now. Yeah, we have people we're curing with psychedelics, with a 60-70% success rate with depression. Yeah, we're making actually already in animal models, you can extend life, but in apes, so not in lower animals, like you can extend life expectancy for a third, yeah, and stuff like that. So that is all happening now. So everything I said now, or my sort of my 10, 20-year view is grounded in that sort of all these technologies are starting to happen, and it's going to be a gradual sort of positive move forward.
Well, that sounds incredibly exciting, and I can't wait to see it. Christian, thank you very much for joining me. Everyone, please thank me for Christian's time here today.
Thank you.